Russia, a country with 11 time zones stretching over more than 17 million square kilometers. In numerous adventures, I have already taken you to remote regions of the largest country on Earth. But all these journeys had one thing in common. They were well thought out and they were planned. Today, that's different. Alexander and I decided to let chance decide our next trip through Russia. We're going to the airport without any planning, looking at the departure board and taking the next available flight to a region we've never been to before. Join me on this experiment of my very first random trip through Russia. A warm welcome, friends. Today I have a very special video planned for you. I'm taking a random flight across Russia. This random factor can make travel exciting. We've seen everything in Sochi, so now we're heading to the airport to catch any available flight. But we've come up with a few rules, which I'll explain now. First, we're only flying to places within Russia that we've never been to before. Second, we'll take the next available flight. And third, the distance is limited. The destination can be a maximum of 1,000 kilometers away. So, as you can see, there are a few rules. We want to stay in the region, we want to stay in the south, but which city we actually fly to is completely up to chance. So it could be that we fly to Anapur, to Krasnodar, or even to Grozny in Chechnya. We're leaving all of that up to chance. Let's take a look at the board to see which destinations fit the rules and are possible options, and then we'll get on the plane. We've now found the first counter here in the whole airport, and this flight is going to Nalchik. Here you see it, guys, Nalchik. We checked and Nalchik is actually possible within our rules. That's why I'm going to the counter now. Can we still buy a ticket? The flight leaves in an hour. And then let's see, we did it, guys. We're flying to Nalchik in the Republic of Kabardino-Balkaria. Honestly, I've never heard of this republic either. That's why here are some quick facts about Kabardino-Balkaria. Kabardino-Balkaria is an independent republic in the south of Russia. The region is famous because it is home to the highest mountain in the country, Mount Elbrus. In this republic, there are mainly three ethnic groups: the Kabardians, the Balkars, and the Russians, each with their own traditions. After a quick check at the airport and a short flight that took about an hour, we arrived at our destination in the capital city, Nalchik. We have arrived in Nalchik, the capital of Kabardino-Balkaria, and you can tell that we just randomly flew somewhere in Russia because it already looks completely different here. The airport is basically an empty warehouse. Here's the baggage carousel, just one loop. Look at the baggage carousel, it's all just a single row. This is easily one of the three smallest airports I visited. After arriving in Nalchik, we got our bearings and asked the taxi driver what to do here. And the answer didn't make us particularly optimistic. We don't know anything about Nalchik. What can you recommend in this area?
In this area? Yeah, there's nothing here.
The taxi driver told us that there's absolutely nothing you can do here. But I'm sure every region has something to offer, at least the nature. We'll take a look at that too. Let's see, but it's a cool experiment to fly to a region you know nothing about. We're at the hotel. Let me show you what to do in Nalchik. It's 10 euros, so two people could stay here for 5 euros each per night. And yeah, very simple room. I'm traveling with a buddy, but we still got 2 rooms. Just because sometimes I have to work in the evenings and I need my own room, so to speak. So we both have a double room, I should say. Some people are always interested in what you pay here. And yeah, guys, tomorrow we're off through the unknown republic. The first real day in Kabardino-Balkaria begins. My first impression is good. The people are nice and honest. I lost my phone in a taxi, and the driver returned it to me. We called and it went well. A great first impression. Now let's see what there is to see in the city, in the capital of this republic. The first person we talked to said, "There's nothing here at all," which is obviously a bad omen, but now we'll take a look ourselves.
The most beautiful place and the best people were right here with us. In short, now there's some bearded guys around, Musulmanin, and they caused the whole North Caucasus situation.
You are Muslims yourselves?
Muslims, I believe them. Allah is everything. In short, I'll line up all the bearded ones like this and tell everyone that they ruined everything here in this world.
That means...
This is entirely caused.
Yes!
Are you talking about bearded Muslims?
Those are not our Muslims, you understand?
I don't have enough strength.
Not me.
The car has 2 million kilometers on it.
The machine is 17 years old.
Millions of kilometers on a beast with mechanics.
1,576,000 cars have operated.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think we are. A machine with 200,000 cars. We are now in the center, and I have two observations. First, people talk a Russian that is very different from the big cities. Maybe like in Germany there is Bavarian and Swabian. But it really sounds very different, like a dialect. The second thing is also this southern flair, like in Central Asia. Let me give you a few impressions. Here you see the central hotel of the city. Here you see my buddy Michael. You see my buddy. In the distance you can see the music theater. Here is Kabardino-Balkaria's parliament and the Arbat, the city's main street. You can see it all, a construction site and widespread destruction. That can mean two things. Either this city is on the rise or... yes, but I would rather say it's on the rise. Maybe even if the street is redone here, but that's what the center looks like. You may know the Moscow Arbat. This is the Nalchik Arbat. They speak Russian in this republic.
In Rostock, yes, Russian.
Just the basics or everything?
Yes, absolutely everything.
The first language principle is in Balkar.
Balkar, Kabardian, Russian?
He says Russian or not, but I get how it works.
It's fun. You can find it in some places.
What are your first impressions of this republic? After 10 minutes?
It's hard to compare it to other places.
Does it feel like being in Russia?
No.
No.
Not really.
Does it remind you more of Central Asia?
Central Asia, yeah, or I don't know, Georgia or something like that.
Yeah.
Mmm.
Nalchik also has good food, guys.
So delicious, guys.
It's good.
You're very delicious.
The entire city is a construction site. I walked the wrong way for 10 minutes and saw construction everywhere on the streets. That's really crazy. This is Dom Radio, the city's station. The city is under construction, but the atmosphere is still calm and pleasant. Everything here is very well maintained and clean, even if it's not a construction site. You have to give them credit for that. We're walking to the city market to check what's for sale and the situation. It's always exciting to get a feel for the atmosphere in the city. It's a relatively quiet market. But yeah, what's being sold there? Sunglasses. Real glasses. There are intrigues, things are being maneuvered, but the whole thing is somehow not lively. The whole thing is not like in Morocco. Someone calls after you here, but the place feels deserted, not lively at all. Okay, sure, people do shop here, but somehow there's relatively little going on. There are still fish here, guys. It doesn't get any fresher than this. A bit inhumane maybe, but then they're slaughtered live for you. So here, everything is really still offered alive, you see? A really small aquarium. May I ask, do you speak Russian here?
We have the Kabardino language. I am Kabardino.
Ah, this is your first language, right?
Exactly.
Ah,
We learn Russian at school, where every subject is taught in Russian.
do you think this is an autonomous country or a part of Russia?
We all feel the same way about Russia. Germans, French, and all Americans, we love everyone. Our country, Russia, is friendly. Let the politicians fight among themselves, but we are united as people. Men are all the same. It does not matter which nationality they come from.
I agree. There are really three ethnic groups here. The Kabardians, a Caucasian people, the Balkars, a Turkic people, and then the Russians. But on the whole, you feel like a single unit here, part of Russia. So that's how it is, because now it's the woman's perception. Yes, but I think that's the best way. I can't show it, it's a pit bull type. Look at that, what a beautiful dog. That's one of those, a terrier, that's what it's called. Excuse me, I need to feed the 4 or 5 dogs here. I still have 6 or 7 sausages left. These sausages have skin, that's not good. Do you think I can take my animal to Germany? It's really cool to explore something you didn't even know existed, and for under 50 euros for an hour of flight. Since I want to visit all the republics, including Russia, I would have come here eventually. Exactly, I'm here now, right next to the main park of the capital, so I get a bit of a feel for the look. But I can say that the main language you hear here is not necessarily Russian. I actually hear more Turkish similar languages. But what I also find interesting is how the schools look here, and secondly that the Second World War is still being glorified. Of course, that's a big topic in Russia. But even in elementary schools and other schools, you see these decorations everywhere that remind you of the Second World War. What's the best thing about this republic?
The nature and the people.
And do you want to live here in the future or in Moscow?
Here it's better, quiet and peaceful.
Are you all Kabardinians?
Yes.
Are friends groups often homogeneous?
Yes, of course.
They are all from the same ethnic group, 6 friends, and it seems therefore that here it is, you know, the Russians with the Russians and so on. Because maybe it's just easier for the language if your friends speak the same language as their first language. But you see, I spoke Russian so we could entertain ourselves in Russian, in case you're curious about the main train station in this remote Russian city. You can see it now. Everything is old school, still Soviet style with the hammer and sickle, but a bit older. But yeah, that's what a train station looks like in rural Russia. And did you see the display board in the station? Here in the poorer regions, of course, recruitment is even stronger because it's even more worthwhile for people to voluntarily take part in all of this. We've now seen everything in the capital, guys, and Meike had the brilliant idea that we should just take a bus now. A marshrutka to some random place, we don't know where yet, we're just going to some village.
Guys, that's right, let's get started.
This is our choice of marshrutka. We just got into some marshrutka, and for example, I have no idea where it's going. Mike knows, I think, where it's going. You kind of know where it's going, right?
Yeah.
Not color. What are the articles? How many inhabitants? I don't know.
About 10 kilometers, half an hour from the city.
Okay, half an hour from the city. Let's check the conditions there.
2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have a Kirke, we're always at school.
The woman on the bus spoke to me for a long time and said she dreams of living in Germany because it's so clean. But that's just the way it is. Foreigners abroad have a very glorified image of Germany, and that's the nice thing about it. No, I didn't intend to speak badly about Germany at all. Many people don't realize that big cities in Germany also have issues with trash and just assume it's the cleanest country. So this place is one of the quietest places I've ever experienced. A relatively strange place. It's like becoming a hermit, you know? If you don't feel like doing anything in the world anymore, you can live here. Sure, there are people here, but somehow it's hard to describe, as if there's no stress about time here. Okay, I followed the advice of the young guys to check out the mosque, and now it's here, right in the middle of the village with a golden dome. But the ridge is still being renovated and built. But for such a small village, which hardly has any shops except for a few mini markets and village stalls, it's definitely worth seeing, so it's a beautiful building. And for those who are now wondering what such a small village in Kabardino-Balkaria looks like, where only a few thousand people live. Here's a quick rundown. This is the village school. This is the village sports complex. This is the village soccer field. This is a bit of street art. This is one of the parks with nice seating areas and opportunities for children to play. And funnily enough, there was even a small castle that was only built 10 or 15 years ago. Even more exciting than the small villages is Kabardino-Balkaria's nature. That's why we took you back outdoors the next day. As you can see, it's all very authentic. Cows on the road, and the mountain landscapes are extremely idyllic too. Yeah, it was definitely a feast for the eyes to drive through nature here. And our destination was a small mountain village located at several thousand meters. We've reached El Chubo, a small mountain village at 2-3,000 meters altitude with bad weather. But yes, we just wanted to see how people live traditionally in the mountains, to see the nature. I managed to get into the Dom Cultura. Guys, I wanted to give you a little insight. The Second World War is being celebrated again here, with veterans present. We oppose terrorism because this region is often stereotyped and linked to it. There are several warriors here who are probably currently involved in the conflict and lost their lives. Here you see the conflict that began in 2022. Many Caucasus soldiers were drafted. Only in a place like this do you truly realize the current horror. From this village alone, a dozen men have fallen. Mothers have lost their sons, or entire families have lost their sons who are our age, my age. And yes, I think these guys are all from this village alone, or at least from this region. In these villages, people still raise and slaughter their own livestock. Here you see sheep which will eventually be eaten when the time is right, along with their young. Oh yes, the Caucasus has unique nature, with mountains reaching 5,000 meters. Mount Elbrus stands at 5,600 meters, the highest here, and the river winds through the mountains. And now we're going to walk up, because there's something very special we absolutely have to show you here, right in the middle of these mountains. In the village, Elbrus. Now we can see how people lived in Russia over 300 years ago. The climb was tough, but we did it. Crazy, right? People actually lived here probably on just 3 square meters with their families. There are also larger houses further away. Let's look inside. This was considered a luxury apartment at the time, but even here. There are only a few square meters here as well. Do I have to confess to you that I was very naive and gullible? A villager had tricked me into believing that these stone structures were actually houses back then. But after doing my own research, I found out that these stone structures, these buildings actually, how should I say this? They were graves or resting places for the deceased in this village. But yeah guys, I hope you like this as much as I do. Sometimes on camera it doesn't really show how massive this place is, how beautiful everything looks. How it looks? Because everything gathers there. Yeah, it's expensive, exactly. Take it, you won't regret it. Well, I don't need it as a gift. You'll take it, you'll take it. Okay, go ahead yourself. Kavarinskaya or Balkarka? Well, actually, the difference is in the languages, in the customs. Yeah. The cultural center is always open, and the cars are here. aren't locked either. So there are no trust issues here. People have a very strong foundation of trust, but it also makes sense. A few hundred people live here, which is good for growing up. I might be a little worried about tourists, but there are no concerns about that either. Here you have trout with various vegetables and delicious things. I don't know, that's a cinnamon roll anyway, that's how I look at the view. For a dish like this in the mountains in the village, you pay €2 in Russia. By the way, I think that's really worth it. I can't say much yet. I need to test if the fish actually tastes good. Yeah. Crispy. I don't think you can get more organic, more natural than this. Guys, straight from the garden, caught from the lake. I even double-checked on camera. That's why I think people here are healthy. It's organic, basic food, and honestly, that's always the best tasting, in my opinion. After this delicious lunch, we're heading home. That was Kabardino-Balkaria, a little-known republic. At first, Mikhail and I expected the video to flop since there's not much to see in Nalchik, the capital. But you don't come here for the capital, you come for these beautiful mountains and nature, a nature that's so unique in the world. I've visited New Zealand and Australia, but nowhere looked like this. You can see it a bit in the background. Now it's getting foggy, but yeah, if you ever get the chance, come here, it's really great. This village is called El Zubo, I think. Feel free to tune in again soon.